What's going on, everybody? Brain Gap Phil here. Yes, found another story that you guys sent me that's a little crazy. It's about animals. I know we all love animals. We don't want to see animals pass away. We don't want to see people strangle animals. We don't want to see people put animals down. Most people don't. So I found this story. It's from Canada, from the northern hemisphere, from the northern part of America. All right, so apparently the Canadian government, let me get it pulled up here for you so you can see exactly what's going on. Apparently the Canadian government killed off a ton of ostriches. And the reason why it's curious to me is because there are so many people who were involved in trying to get these ostriches to not be put down. And it was kind of interesting also how they were put down by the Canadian government. So I want to look into it real quick and then get your take. Is this okay? Should it have happened? And why were so many other governments involved in trying to prevent it from happening? Let's check it out. All right, so this is on the science.org website. I'm pretty sure it's everywhere. It only happened a couple days ago. So let's see. Actually, yesterday. Let's see. The Canadian government kills ostriches afflicted by the H5N1 despite appeal from RFK Jr., who, of course, is, I believe, the health secretary, right, in the United States. Culling, which is the proceeding of the killing of the ostriches, culling proceeds after Canada's Supreme Court ends heated 11-month debate. Okay, let's continue on. The debate was what? Over the fate of more than 300 birds. Ostriches, I always wonder why we don't eat ostriches. It looks like they have so much meat in just that round portion, which is pretty much their entire body, right? Ostrich just is like a whole body with a neck and a leg, right? Yeah, keep it moving. All right, so after an 11th month legal standoff, the Canadian government on 8 November called a flock of farm-raised ostriches that had survived an outbreak of the highly pathogenic avian influenza, HPAI virus H5N1. Despite appeals to save the birds, coming from an unusual coalition that included U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and protesters who criticized government overreach during the COVID-19 pandemic, Canada's Supreme Court on 6 November dismissed an appeal from the birds' owners, so they didn't even own these birds, to stay their execution. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency, CFIA, then corralled all 314 remaining ostriches behind hay bales and had sharpshooters kill them at Universal Ostrich Farms. Sharpshooters! Bro, all I can imagine is like a field and you got a whole bunch of people there with the long rifles out. They got the scopes. Maybe they got the red dots. And they are just picking off these ostriches. Pew, pew, pew. That's kind of wild. The disposal followed all biosecurity and biocontainment protocols to mitigate the risk of spreading HPAI, a CFIA statement says. Ostriches are considered poultry, and industry CFIA regulates. The agency discovered H5N1 in the flock after receiving an anonymous tip in December 2024 that the farm had sick birds. Who's the tip come from? Was it the cows at Chick-fil-A? I bet you it was. Go investigate. Canadian regulations require the culling of an entire flock if even a single member is infected with the HPAI, a policy called stamping out. That, as CFIA notes, is meant to protect animals, humans, and Canada's international poultry trade. But the farmers who hope to sell antibodies from the ostriches' eggs as health and beauty products objected. So they wanted to, let me read that again. So the farmers, the owners, they hope to sell antibodies from their eggs because they were infected, but they were healed. And they wanted to sell those antibodies as health and beauty products. I can't even talk. Health and beauty products. So you're telling me that the ingredients in health and beauty products sometimes come from infected animals? Somebody make that make sense. That doesn't seem like a good connection. CFIA rejected their argument that the surviving ostriches were immune to H5N1 and for safety reasons would not allow testing of the birds for the virus. Protesters set up camp outside the farm, attracting international media attention. All right, so forth and so on. Of course, Kennedy gets involved, scientists get involved, and they try to save the birds. At the end of the day, the birds were not saved. What's interesting on both fronts is the CFIA rejected the argument or the reason that they wanted to save the birds, and they wouldn't test. That's kind of odd to me. If you have the ability to test and the owners are going to pay for the test, just test the birds. Now, I know out of abundance of precaution, they would say, we don't even want to test. If there's a likelihood, because this is considered food, poultry, we don't want to allow it. I get that, but at least test them, especially if you are the owner of the bird, you should have that option. On the opposite side, again, how about you just not use these birds for anything? The fact that you would then want to use these birds for beauty products that people put on their skin is crazy. It says health and beauty products, right? So not just the skin products, but health. Does that mean medicines? That just seems very odd to me. So I don't know. I was thinking about this story, and it on both ends, some things don't quite add up. Why others would really be getting involved in the interstate business of another country is kind of weird. How many of these birds exist? I didn't think ostriches were anywhere near going extinct. So I'm pretty sure there are a lot more now. If I was a property owner, of course, I wouldn't want the government getting involved, taking my bird or my property. My next question would be, did the owner get paid? Now, if the owner got paid subsequently for the government getting involved in taking their product, because of course there is a financial tie to it, okay, a little bit less sympathy from me. But if they took your product, terminated your product, and you got nothing for it, I got a problem with that. So very interesting story. Very, very interesting. I might go out and buy me a pet ostrich. I heard they're like dangerous animals, kind of like kangaroos. They look sweet, and then you get up front and they box your face. I heard ostriches, they try to peck your eyes out. I don't know if that's true, but it seems like it's true because I just said it. But I don't know. Let me know how you feel on this particular story. What side do you take? Because you know me, I just read it and I don't know. So you tell me. I'm just trying to fill my brain gap. Peace.